Hi, folks. It's Paul Ramsey, and I am joined by Roberta Fernandez, who is presenting a 1-hour seminar at the 2017 NGH convention. She's going to be presenting on Saturday, August 12th in the 9 a.m. time slot, and her topic is vulnerability and change, expanding your hypnotism practice. How are you, Roberta?
I'm doing great, Paul. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. I'm glad to be with you again. It's funny, like that's a word that when I think of the convention, vulnerability, I don't think of a lot of people talking about vulnerability. We hear change a lot, but not so. Why this topic? Where are you coming from? Give me your sort of take on this.
Well, before I was a hypnotist, I was a trainer in the corporate sector and a business consultant. And I did a lot of work around organizational change. And I didn't do so much the how-tos and processes, but I looked at the personal aspect. And the fact of the matter is vulnerability and change go hand in hand. You really can't have one without the other. And so I started thinking about hypnotists. And this workshop is for people who are really wanting to go part-time to full-time, or maybe they're expanding to a larger office. This is why I did this workshop last year. I took my office from one little room to 2,700 square feet. So I had a huge expansion. And let me tell you, I felt very vulnerable. So I was like, I can talk about this.
Yeah.
And you might want to just be bringing other hypnotists into the office with you. You might want to be opening a training center, or maybe you're just starting your practice. Quite honestly, this workshop is for everybody that is in one of those scenarios.
Good. Hey, this is one of those topics that I've talked about for years, and I sometimes I feel like maybe it's like not popular to talk about, like, oh, don't, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, because that's what I do. So I have been going to the convention for years, and you sit in these sessions, and at some point you're going to go to a session where the presenter will start off and they'll say, okay, glad to have you all here today. I just want to kind of know my audience. How many of you are in full-time practice?
Oh, yeah.
And like, a few hands go up, right? And then they go, okay. How many of you are in part-time practice? And like twice as many, or maybe 3 times as many hands will go up. But it still doesn't cover the total number of people in the room. We have so many people who go to convention. They've taken the time to get trained and certified. They've paid the money to go to convention. And they're spending their weekend, 3 days, learning about all these different topics and enriching their knowledge set and their skill set. And yet they're not out there practicing, right? And it drives me crazy. Not in an angry way. Like, it makes me sad, because I think, here are these people who love hypnotism, and they're coming for a reason, right? But something keeps them from going there. And so, I don't know.
That's
me on that.
It is vulnerability. And as a business consultant, I've been an entrepreneur for, let's just say 30 plus years, longer than I want to admit to. And this is my 5th business. And what I see in hypnosis, I mean, even when I started practicing, I did it on a part-time basis, because I thought, why aren't more people doing this? Is it because you can't make money at it? Is it because there's not a need for it? And so I really, I didn't have any plans to change careers at the time. I had a great career, but it was intriguing to me, and I was really helping people, just doing it on a small level. What happens is that a lot of hypnotists come to this as their 2nd or 3rd career. And most of them have never owned their own business before. And that's a scary thing. It makes you feel vulnerable. I know in this expansion, it was really big for me, because even though I've been an entrepreneur my whole life and started, 5 businesses, this is the first business, especially this expansion, that I'm doing it all on my own. I don't have a significant other who has a salary to rely on. And so this change made me feel very vulnerable. What if I'm wrong? What if I can't make this work? And so that's what this workshop is all about. It's about understanding that vulnerability and change go hand in hand. Vulnerability is the birthplace of creativity and innovation. And In the workshop, we're going to talk about change, a lot about it, how your role in the change process, what you can and you can't control, or what you can influence. And then we're really going to get into the nitty-gritty of your relationship to that change process.
So this is a session, it sounds to me like the primary benefit is for the attendee, him or herself, in terms of their personal growth and their professional growth. I'm sure there will be ways that they can take what they learn and use it with clients, right? But really, we're focusing mostly on how to help people within our community figure out how to get traction and get to that next level.
Yeah, and again, it's not so much about a how-to, but I think before you can really even get to the how to run a business and how to market yourself and all those other things that go with it, I think you have to make sure that you are ready. And that's where the rubber meets the road, truly is. The rest of the stuff, you can read a book, you can, get a mentor, but you have to be internally ready. And so even though this workshop is focused on change for expanding a practice or changing your practice in some way or starting it, it's also going to help you personally, because we really are looking at you. So for example, we're going to be talking about the relationship of the person to the change process. What needs to change in yourself? What needs to change around the expansion? What needs to change in the relationship between yourself and the expansion? And we're going to go into details of that. And then the most powerful part, I feel, is everybody's going to be given a personal assessment. And this assessment, I think, is very, very powerful for anybody, no matter where they are in their career. I do this assessment a couple of times a year, and I also have colleagues and friends and family do the assessment about me, because not only am I looking at how I view myself, but I'm seeing how other people view me. So the assessment looks at your communication skills, your political and psychological skills, and I don't mean politics, but your relation to other people, right? Your professional development, and then it has a really good way to review that and some good action planning. What's my next steps? And of course, all of this is for nothing if you don't initiate action.
Right. That's it, you guys. She just laid it out in the most wonderfully articulate way. There's nothing more to say about this. Either you hear this and you go, yeah, I can really use this. This would help me. And so you go and you spend an hour with Roberta on Saturday, August 12th at 9 a.m. Or you go, nah, not so much for me. And you go check out one of the other interviews that we've done. I don't want to flog this any more than it needs to be, right? It's that simple. So vulnerability and change, expanding your hypnotism practice with Roberta Fernandez at 9 a.m. on August 12th. Roberta, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. And thank you again for doing this series. It's awesome.
Right.
And I want to just say, when I did this workshop last year and I looked at my reviews, which were really high, I guess that's why they want me back to do it again. A couple of the comments, more than it really surprised me how many there were, was how motivational it was.
Yeah.
So I would also say, if you want a boost to your career, come to this workshop, because I have a lot of energy and we have a lot of fun, and the hour flies by. So cool. I hope to see everybody there. Thank you.
Good. Awesome. All right. We'll see you in August. You be well.
Awesome. You too, Paul.
All right. Bye-bye.